Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Living Room Sports here on KDKA-TV. Bob Pompeani, Rich Walsh, and we're joined by one of the best-known media people in the business. Yes, our good friend, Pat McAfee. You know him from Barstool, but also the man with the biggest guns I've ever seen for a punter. Matt, good to talk to you, Pat.
Hey, thank you so much, Pomp. Steve Weatherford has me beat, and this just happens to be good lighting in my office. Anytime I get a chance to talk with a legend like yourself, I am obviously elated about it, and I can't wait to just chit-chat here. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's talk about just getting into this business. You know, you were somebody who had a really successful career going in punting, and yet you decided to walk away from it. What went into that decision, and why did you make it?
Well, I think there's a lot that goes into that, Pomp. You know, like when I first got in the NFL, dream come true, having the time of my life, worked my ass off with my dad all the way back since high school and kicking a soccer ball on the side of the wall for hours because I had ADD and couldn't really watch an entire movie or television or read a book. So all I did all day or play video games, I just kicked the ball. So it's one of those things where getting to do that was a dream come true. It was awesome. It provided everything for my family that I ever dreamt of being able to do that. And towards the end of my career there, I don't want to say I had punting figured out, but I was doing very well punting, but I was also doing a lot of things off the field as well. And I got to a point where I was like, okay, the NFL provided me and grossly overpaid me for what I did, but I was able to take care of my family, my friends. I was able to do everything that I was supposed to do, but I want to kind of chase what I really want to spend my time doing. And it all revolved around being able to hopefully make life a little bit happier for people, maybe talk some stupid things into a microphone that can be a distraction. And now that my friends work with me and my family works with me, it's like every day this is kind of what I thought was going to happen when I retired, and it's kind of paying off right now. And we're just trying to enjoy it as much as possible and hopefully make the world a better place. So it was a hard decision. A lot of people, including my mom and dad, had big time doubts. You know, there's a lot of money left on the table there. But now we're just enjoying life and just trying to spend every moment, trying to make it a little bit better.
Yeah, we saw you kicking field goals, posting that video, and there's always rumors when someone needs a field goal kicker that maybe you would come out of retirement. Is there any chance? Is that squashed right now?
I don't, you know, I guess you can't just completely rule that out. Because what happens if, let's say my show, for some reason, just becomes a very terrible show and people don't enjoy it anymore. And there's a team week 16, week 17 that has a good chance of making a run at a Super Bowl ring. I mean, I guess maybe there'll be a thought at it then, but it would have to be pretty insane circumstances.
So has ESPN finally offered you the Monday Night Football job? Come on, man.
Bob, there's no chance that's going to happen. I appreciate that. I don't know. Like, to be honest, I really wanted that gig, right? A couple times. A year ago, I thought I could add to the game. I would think I would want a little bit more experience before getting dropped into the biggest thing. Just for, I mean, let's say my sake, I don't think people necessarily need to be forced to hear me for a first time, right? Like, I think there's a lot of people that like me a lot, but at the beginning, there's some people that can definitely be turned off a bit. I think once I get a little bit finer tuned, I could potentially get there. But I would want to work on that a little bit more. I've only called like 10 games or something like that.
Hey, do you think that belly flop scared him off?
I should have took the microphone off. You guys know in that bit, the audio people were not thrilled on this. You know, that was a hilarious moment. I mean, because each week it was like I would get a text that was like, hey, you want to come back and join us again on game day or whatever? So like I never knew if I was going to be on game day the next week. So when that Baylor thing happened, it was like, that's why I said many people were thinking this is my last time I could be on College game day. So might as well do this, basically. It was like that belly flop hurt like hell, though. I had a bolo tie on, and that thing almost went through my sternum. Almost went through my sternum in there.
Pat McAfee, our special guest here on Living Room Sports. Pat, you say you live in Indianapolis, which is very similar to Pittsburgh in my visits there, but you also had to deal with Mother Nature recently and a tornado, I guess, that hit over there. What was that like, and how did you deal with that?
Pomp. Can I call you Pomp?
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone does.
Well, I didn't know if I'm on the level of the pomp though. Like, you know what I mean?
Pompinator. I call him Pompinator
It's called
sometimes.
Pompin' Ain't Easy, brother. Let's do
Pompin'
it.
ain't easy.
Hey, Scottie Pippen holed one out in a tournament against me from like 115 yards. He picked up the ball and said, "Pippen ain't easy to me."
All right, well,
So
Rich and I golf. Let's take you out, and we'll try to do the same thing.
well, that's what I'm saying. I think you should keep that one in your back pocket if you ever big, you know what I mean? Pumping ain't easy. That's
His bag says Pompin' ain't easy. His bag, his golf bag, it says Pompin' ain't easy on the back.
Oh my God, Pomp! I knew you were a savage. I knew you were a legend. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. Anyways, okay, so yeah, the tornadoes. A couple weeks ago, that was the first one that I was in the purple on the Doppler. In the my house was in there, and boy, it was insane. It was scary. I gave a goodbye to my house. I was very thankful for my house. I went down in the basement in like a little hole. The whole house was shaking at one point. It sounded like a train coming through the woods, and there's literally nothing you can do about it. You're just sitting there, and then 15 minutes pass, and you're like, okay, is this done? You go upstairs, and you just see trees everywhere. The house stayed up, but it was an insane time to be alive there, Pomp. It was nothing like the movie Twister. There was no cows or anything like that. But boy, it felt crazy for a little bit.
So Pat, I'm from Penn Hills. You're from Plum. We have Aaron Donald, Bill Fralick, but I'm driving through Plum every once in a while and I see a big sign that says home of Pat McAfee.
It's really cool. It is really, I know Plum too can sometimes get a bad rap every once in a while for some decisions that are made, but I am so lucky I grew up there. Everything, I mean, I think a lot of people that grow up in Pittsburgh feel this way, but I am so lucky I grew up in Plum. It gave me a certain, I don't want to say grit, but it gave me a certain grit about it. Like, hey, let's go ahead and do this thing. Hardworking people, good people, in the greatest sandwich shop in the history of the earth, Rudy Subs. So I'm proud of that sign, and I hope that there's a lot more people that we can hopefully either move me off the thing and put other people up there, and I think that they will come soon.
All right, Pat. Hey, we're just getting started with Pat McAfee. When we come back, a trip down memory lane, what it was like growing up with Pat McAfee. That's next right here on Living Room Sports, KDKA-TV.